Hey guys, how's it going? So it's been years and years since I last took a look at OpenSuse, and I'd say at least 5, if not somewhere closer to 10. So I wanted to check it out with Tumbleweed, now that they have a rolling release going on. And I'm also going to start from here with my VM, because I have a coworker who wanted to know how easy is KVM to use, and would it be a good replacement for Virtualbox? I happen to think it's a perfect replacement for Virtualbox. So let's take a look here. So I'm going to hit over here to create a new virtual machine. And I'm going to use an ISO. So here, I've created all these storage volumes, which are basically directories where you want to do stuff. So I have an ISO directory. And right here, let's see, where did I put it? Let me refresh. Here we go. I have OpenSuse Tumbleweed. It's a snapshot from the 31st of May. I'm going to choose that. So this is my installation. Okay, it's a type of Linux. I'm not sure if OpenSuse is in here, but it might be. Let's see. All right. OpenSuse. Let's say 13.1. Why not? All this does is kind of predict how much RAM you need. So 2 gigs of RAM, that's fine. I only have one other VM running at the time of all my possible VMs. And I'll give it one of my 8 CPUs. Alright, so here's where if you want to control where the hard drives are, this is the only place where it's a little bit more complicated than Virtualbox. So if you want to do like Virtualbox, here you just pick the size you want for your hard drive and you go forward. But I like to keep them in a certain spot. I don't want to crowd up my root directory. So I go here to my VM directory. These are supposed to have icons, but I'm using a certain theme in KDE that doesn't fully support it. So I'm going to go here, create a new volume, OpenSuse 13.1 QCal. I'm going to rename this to Tumbleweed. 20 gigs is fine. I'll hit finish, it's created. Pick that one, go forward. What I want my virtual machine to be called, again, OpenSuse Tumbleweed. Alright, so for network, your default network that will allow you, and this is the same for VMware, for Virtualbox, for everything, is the NAT. That allows the host to talk to the VM to talk to the host. The only thing it doesn't let you do is easily access it from the other computers on the network. So if I'm gonna create something where I want it to be accessible to everyone, like for example this Rockstore test, where I wanted to test a storage, a NAS distro, then I wouldn't want this. I would want to do the Mac VTAP, but NAT is fine. And if you do customize, you can change things like the CPU emulator, how many monitors you have, all that stuff before you install. I'm just going to leave this on default. I'm going to hit finish. All right, ooh, pretty. That is one of the coolest. All right, so I want to do an installation. It's interesting to have this Windows-looking thing going on here. The last time that I used OpenSuse was back when they did the deal with Microsoft that made everyone hate them and made everyone stop using Mono. Other than Mandriva/Mandrake, it's always been one of the most highly recommended Linux distros if you like KDE. They've also always been a very green distro, whereas Linux and Mandriva have always been more of blue distros. In general, since I started using Fedora 10 years ago, no, over 10 years ago, 13 years ago, wow. their KDE implementation has gotten really, really good. It's kind of almost a vanilla KDE with just a few little things, little tweaks mostly for adding their style, their themes and stuff. The only possible benefit to OpenSuse, if they still are a KDE first distro, is that all of their utilities will be written in Qt, whereas all of Fedora's utilities are written in GTK. On a modern system, that doesn't matter. On an older system, loading those GTK libraries can cause things to go a bit slower. This is a bit slow compared to most VM installs, but I'm not gonna stop recording at the moment because it looks like it should be almost there. Once I start the actual install, I'll most likely stop the recording in order to not make you guys sit there and watch every single package go. I've always liked their little chameleon. Now it reminds me of Pascal from Tangled. Alright, so I can test my keyboard to make sure it works. Interestingly, it looks like this is one of those distros where Ubuntu's like this, but Fedora's not. Where when I come in here, now it's captured my pointer and I have to release it with Control and Alt L. Left Control and left Alt. Alright, so they have a license agreement, that's fine. They have a EULA, no problem. They have this old style mouse busy cursor. I haven't seen that busy cursor in a long time. This is the network installer, not the DVD. So there might be a more fully featured installer if you do the DVD. I think the difference here is you get a smaller image up front, and then you spend more of your bandwidth downloading the packages you want. Sure? And no. Okay. Go. Alright, suggested partitioning. So it looks to me, with all these sub-volumes, like they're going to go with ButterFS. Oh, they're doing XFS. Okay. Oh, and they do have ButterFS. Okay, so ButterFS for home, XFS for ButterFS for root, XFS for home. That's an interesting choice. I don't remember what XFS gets you, but the cool thing about ButterFS on these other things is that it should allow you to create a system similar to what they're doing on PCBSD, which I did a video of before, where they are able to roll back after each upgrade. Interesting. Okay. I'd have to look up what XFS is. I think that was Linux's version of ZFS once upon a time. Interesting choices. I'll have to see in future why they did that. And you saw really quickly there Yast in the background, just like DNF is kind of the background of what's going on with Anaconda. Alright, so I'm going to say open source and non-open source, that's fine. Main repositories, yep, that's good. Go next. I understand why Red Hat has the policy they do of making you add RPM Fusion and other repositories if you want stuff that's not open source. Their ethos is to be free software, and also it makes it a lot less likely that they will be sued for patent infringement and stuff like that. Still kind of sucks that it's not as easy as it is with the Debians or apparently with OpenSuse to get those things. Right. All right, so I'm going to go with KDE, and I'll go next. All right, so I will open my name. I'll just call it. All right, put in my password. Okay, this guy will have sudo auto login. Sure, I wouldn't do that on a regular computer, but for a VM, who cares? Grub2, that's fine. Trusted boot, no. Okay, so we're gonna have Tumbleweed, KDE with all the base and so on so off. Graphical mode, yep. Let's do it. Oh, so far all. Oh, that's cool. Let's open SSH. I like OpenSSH to be available. Hopefully I don't have to start all this from scratch again. Okay. And service will be disabled. Let's enable it. Okay, cool. Let's install. So, looks like these are some color profiles from Adobe. And I'm going to install. Warming up. I like that. Okay. So it's telling you what it's doing, which is kind of cool. It's telling you how far it has to go. Very cool. I do like informative installations because it kind of gives you an idea of where it is and if it gets stuck, where it got stuck. And that's really cool. But rather than make you guys sit here and watch this. Oh, all right. We'll wait till this loads up and then I will stop and come back after the install. We're already at 12 minutes. Media, remaining packages time. Cool. I like that. This is very cool. Very, very informative. 4 gigs. All right. So I had 20. 1/5 of it is taken up for the OS, basically. All right. So I will see you guys in a little bit. Welcome back. So after OpenSuse had finished installing, I shut off the VM because I wasn't sure how long it was going to be till I came back, but it's a good way to demonstrate more about how KVM works because, as I mentioned, this is not just about OpenSuse but also how KVM can work as compared to VMware or VirtualBox. So here's my VM. I'm going to hit open over here. You don't have to. I could have just hit run. So it says guest not running. This is the screen through which you will interact with your VM, but also it's all the details of your VM. Where at least as of the last version of VirtualBox that I used, this was attached to the main window over here. I like doing it this way because it's unambiguous which VM you are interacting with. So here's some performance metrics. The CPU that's being emulated, it's an Opteron G5. It could be any of these. You can set topologies and stuff like that. How much RAM it has. What it's booting from. Here's the disk that's attached. No CDs or DVDs attached right now. Here's the networking that we set up before. It has a mouse and a keyboard. Spice is the best server to use because it allows you to have audio and all that type of stuff as opposed to VNC. VNC is a lot less useful. The sound device we're emulating. Serial devices. The graphics card that we're using. So it could be any of those. Are we, doing USB 2 or 3? We have an ID, a Virt.io, and some USB redirectors. All right, so let's start up the VM. Again, these buttons would all be easy to see if you were in GNOME. So here's grub, and we're going to start OpenSuse. Ooh, neat. So this is the Tumbleweed icon because it's a rolling release as opposed to the point releases of OpenSuse Leap, L-E-A-P. While we're waiting for that to go, let's see, I will point out over here, snapshots. Here's where you would make snapshots of your VM if you wanted to take care of that stuff. And we're just waiting for the system to come up. Ooh, very pretty. The background has kind of like a turtle shell type of vibe. Or a honeycomb, but I guess since it's green, I just immediately thought of a turtle shell. Here's your alright, so they've gone with the version of KDE where you have a folder view instead of a desktop folder. It's trivial to change back and forth, so that's no big deal. And they're using Plasma 5. The nice updated audio controls. If we go to My System, I've also got those. You can see all the different playback devices and capture devices, which is really cool. Alright, so they've gone for a horizontal desktop thing, whereas they've gone for vertical. I've got horizontal over here. What's interesting is the way that they've got their menu set up here. So we've got, I guess our favorites are up here in the corner. I had to turn it on and off. And then these categories here, which makes it a lot more like the KDE 3 menu or a Windows menu. Obviously, there are no recent application documents because I've never used it before. For contrast, here's how I've got it on Fedora, which was the default, where you've got this kind of thing going on here. And with the applications, you're going like this, right? So if you want to go back, you go over here. Whereas this is more intuitive, but it does require more screen space. I think that the way Fedora has it is definitely better if you have a worse graphics card and a lower resolution, although that's becoming less and less of an issue as time goes on. I do appreciate that I can, within SUSE, I can very quickly shut off without having to go over to another section. One interesting thing to notice is that now that it's installed, instead of in the installation mode, I can go in and out of the VM without it having to release my cursor, which is super useful. I think, if I remember correctly, with Virtualbox you can only do that if you install the extensions, which tend to be something you have to do second hand because those are not open source, unlike the core of the emulator. Alright, so I just want to take a look at one more thing for this video, and that's the settings and updates. So if you look at my system here, Fedora, this tells me here what updates I have. I click here, It'll show what I need to update. Right now, mostly just kernel stuff. And if I want to go to the Kde settings, I come over here. There's a system settings, and it kind of has every setting I might want to set for Kde. And a couple other things like printers and so on and so forth. So if I go here, well, first of all, so there's no icons letting me know that I have any. Oh, there's a software updates here, but it says my system is offline, which is kind of odd. Not what I expected. Let's do a quick test. Can I go online? I think Firefox is launching while I'm waiting for it to launch. So if I go to settings here, there's configure desktop. Okay, so configure desktop is the exact same settings. Okay, so they have the same settings. But then for the system stuff, they have this thing called YAST, which they've had forever. So, let's see, Google. Okay, so I am online, so I don't know why this thing says I'm not online. System is up to date. Oh, that's right, because it was a network. It was a network install, so it should have the latest software, but we'll just let that run. Alright. Close those tabs. Let's launch YAST and see what's in YAST. Okay, so it needs my sudo, I guess. Alright. So, this is kind of a lot of stuff here. Okay. So we've got add-on products. What is that? Guess it's still launching. So, okay, here we go. Well, that's going. Media check, online update, software repositories, software management. So this is to install and remove software, hardware information. Okay, so these things here all lead to things here. Okay, hardware information, system stuff. So kind of kernel settings. That's cool. Keep going. We've got our host names. Kind of, so it looks like there's a GUI for every single thing you might want to do, which is kind of nice. AppArmor, which is their version of SE Linux. Firewall, sudo, virtualization, install KVM. I could do nested KVM, but I'm not going to. Snapper, interesting. Systemd journal. I like it. It's a lot of good stuff. So if I go here, here's the add-on. Non-open source is my add-on. Cool. Cool. Alright. Cool. So there you go. I guess I'll go really quickly through what's installed by default. So we've got some stuff for designing programs in Qt. We've got Marble, which is the their version of Google Earth. And I say when I say their version, I mean KDE's, not SUSE's. We've got Mahjong, Reversi, Patience. Patience is Solitaire, I think. Mine, Sudoku. Digicam, which if you've seen my blog, you know is my favorite way to manage photos on Linux. A way to convert your RAWs to DNGs, which is pretty cool. Blending, that's probably for panoramas as well as HDR images. GIMP, which is your Photoshop alike. Hugin is definitely for making panoramas. And another panorama thing. So quite a bit of photo software. And show photo, I think, is like a digicam thing, but it's, I think there's no editing. It's only the DAM. Let me open it up and see. I know they're related. I'm not 100% sure. So while I let that start up, weird theming here. Almost looks, almost looks very old. So this is maybe like a baby digicam. Let's see what the handbook says. Anyway, while that's going, ooh, cloud storage manager. What's that? Dropbox, you send it, WebDAV, inbox. Ooh, that's really cool. Interesting. Huh. I don't know what this is in terms of like show photo. Manage your photographs like a professional with power open source, which is the same thing that Digicam says. So I'll have to look online and see exactly what that is, but this looks really neat. I'll have to see if this is on if this is on Fedora. I don't think I have any of the handbooks installed. Right. Conversation is a great IRC client. Chat with everybody moving off of Jabber. Chat is much less useful than it used to be. Multimedia MRock is awesome. Download Amazon stuff. Dragon Player is great. We've got LibreOffice instead of Calligra, but that's no big deal. And the configuration stuff we looked at before. Interesting that Dolphin, which is your file manager, is under system, but yeah, no biggie. And then utilities, bunch of little things. Spectacle. What the heck is Spectacle? Learning about all these new programs. Oh, this is a new type of screenshot, unlike the one that's standard in just K-Snapshot, I think it's called. Interesting. Kind of cool. It's neat that you can copy it to a clipboard as well as send it online to Imgur or something instead of having to upload it separately. Very cool. And so that's OpenSuse Tumbleweed. It's pretty neat. I'll definitely be playing with it some more. And that's how easy it is to use KVM. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.